In the beginning, there was chaos, and this is Boz. I'm playing early age Pangaea on the Bosmos map. So I've hosted a game with 80 players. I started in a not very good location, unfortunately. Um, this planet has no forests on it except for the one that I started on. I wish I started over here because this is kind of in a corner and there's a big, all this area is forest. But I'll have to make do with what I've got. I suppose I have other advantages knowing, where all the starting locations are. Um, so given that I'm here, this is most of this territory here is wasteland, and I think there's a player here. And I think there's two more over here somewhere. Um, this strip over here is mostly farmland, so I'll have to definitely grab a couple of these to make sure that I've got some income. And a lot of these are wastes. I don't really care about these, so I'm probably just gonna try to grab within this kind of circle here, and then just get off the planet as fast as I can to, through the connections to other places to figure out where to go. But if I expand over here, which is farmland, then there's 3 forest provinces here, which is more than enough to, keep me competitive for a while. I'll take these, and what I'll probably aim to try to do is gradually capture this whole chunk over here, because there's lots of mountains and forests there, and I have forest. I took mountain movement on my bless. Um, and yeah, it would be really good to grab all this land, so I have kind of like a protected area that's difficult to capture. And I'll try to stay out of the fights on this planet and just focus on grabbing, like rushing whoever is in here and killing them. And then I'll probably vulture from people on this planet. And hopefully they'll weaken each other, and then I'll come and kill them, and I'll take over this planet eventually. Or maybe I'll focus on this one. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. I should probably talk about my pretender a bit. So let's have a look at my pretender. So I've tried a couple different versions, and I decided to go with this. Frostfather is nice because air and water are both quite good paths to have as Pangaea. Death is not that important, and death in the mages are quite common, so usually getting death is quite easy. Water is very quite valuable for a number of reasons, but being able to cast big quickness buffs and summoning sea trolls and so on, lots of good things to do with it. I took Misfortune because the map is so large and luck actually caps out at a certain number of provinces, so it doesn't really scale. And the same happens with Misfortune, so you're actually incentivized to take Misfortune, so that because at some point the penalties stop getting worse. The other thing is, because I'm Pan, and I'm going to create most of my forts using magic, casting that Grow Fortress spell. So I can't show it here, but because it's created in the magic phase, it actually happens before Endees attack it. So I have the means to I can create a temple sorry, not a temple, a lab. I can move a pan there, and if it hasn't been already taken, then I can grow a fortress, and I know that it's gonna resolve. If Indies attack it in the same turn, then I don't lose any infrastructure. So because there's a couple synergies with it, that means that you almost get a discount for taking um, for what am I saying? You don't get a discount. You basically get the negative effect of this is reduced essentially. Growth 3 I think is a no-brainer. With Pan you get extra growth in your capital from the magic site that they start with, and uh, there's a blood spell called Blood Fecundity for uh, Blood 2. Actually, let's take a screenshot of this actually and look at the spells so I can talk about strategy for a little bit. So if we go to Pan here, right, so there's a blood spell here called Blood Fecundity. So it gives you +2 growth, and it lasts for quite a while. You don't really need it to have, any pan can cast this. You don't need it to last for a very long time. Like casting it for a year or something will turn the province into a forest. So you can cast, you can create a lab for 600 gold in a province that doesn't have one, and that's not a forest, sorry, and then you can cast the spell, and probably within a year, when it's under growth 5, it's going to become a forest. Now you do lose, I think, like 10% of the population or 5%, but that pretty much gets negated by the extremely high growth fairly quickly, so it's not, I think the price is well worth it. And the other thing is that you get the forest, obviously, so you can, create a fortress there with nature gems, and get a discount temple. So I think it's definitely worth it. In terms of research goals, so definitely Alteration 5, of course, is the priority. Really need to get Mother Oak. Probably don't really need anything else that much. So Swarm, Mother Oak, and some of these other buffs, so like Group Bark Skin is quite nice. You can cast that on your chaff to make them a little bit less squishy. Pans can spam this really easily because it's nature 2. They have at least 4, so they can cast this for like 10 fatigue or something. Very, very good. As long as you're not fighting someone with fire damage. So priority research goals will be Alteration 5 for Mother Oak, and then Dominion 6 has introduced these Dreamstone items that let you get research boosts. So probably after Alteration 5, it'll be either Conjuration 5 for Hell, which is really, which is a battle winning spell in some situations. It can be very, very good in some situations. It's and Construction 5 as well, because you get Dreamstone item here, which gives you +9 to research, and Pan does struggle a bit with research, so getting that is quite good. Blood Fecundity is a nice to have. If you get a couple sites that generate blood slaves or for free, like +5 or something, then it's worth getting this and using it. Especially if you conquer someone's capital, for example, casting Blood Fecundity on it is pretty good. But um, if you need to hunt for blood slaves to have enough to cast this, then it's probably not worth it because you don't really get a lot of other value from blood magic this early on. Later on, we'll probably want to get Bind Succubus. This will be probably more of a late game thing. There's only really two spammable, um, you know, summons from blood magic that I think are any good. So improved crossbreeding, if you can get the manual, is quite good, just to generate a ton of chaff. And some of the bigger ones are actually quite good, like the ones that breathe poison and fire and so on. Life for Life is obviously your kind of late game staple um, thug destroying ability. Pretty much all your pans can use it, and it just destroys. It just kills anything. It's a really powerful spell. Quite oppressive. It's very expensive to cast with 200 fatigue, but it's unresistible 40 damage, 100% range and accuracy. So it just destroys thugs. Yeah, ridiculous. It's really powerful. But it's level 8. So our priority for the mid game will be Mother Oak, and then situationally either Construction 5 for the Dreamstones or Howl. So if I'm at war with somebody, I'll probably go for Howl. If I'm have the luxury of not needing to fight for survival, then I'll probably get Construction. After a while, after you get those basic research goals, then the next thing that you want to do is either getting Creeping Doom, because this makes your Dryad Assassins just so strong. They can gem burn into Creeping Doom, and enemies that do not have Fire Shield equipped, because they're probably not going to cast it by script, they're just going to get completely destroyed by this spell. It's really strong. The other thing is that you want is enchantment. You really want to get Gates of Horn and Ivory so you can secure a lot of glamour gems. You can use glamour gems for a lot of different things. One of your research items, there's Pixie Boots, which are pretty good for your Dryads. Lots of thug items can be made using glamour gems as well. The other thing is in Evocation we have Ephemeral Blast, which is a pretty good nuke against some players. Your Dryads can cast the spell, the ones with Glamour 2. It's a Glamour 3 spell, but in Alteration you have Twilight and Nightfall, which you can cast one, and it does sort of like a mini darkness and gives everybody +1 glamour. And this one does like a mini darkness, so you can use this to turn all your Glamour 2 Dryads into Evocation Mages. The other thing that you can do with Pan is cast Cat-Eyed Warriors on your Centaurs or your other units, and it gives them dark vision in quite a wide area, which you combo with Twilight Darkfall, so the enemy gets -3/-3, and you just get -1/-1, which is pretty negligible. And that penalty stacks with stuff like Blur and so on. So after Alteration, Conjuration, Evocation, Construction, depending on what happens in the game. After those basic things are received or get researched, probably need to go for Gates of Horn and Ivory or Creeping Doom, depending on how the game's going. So if I'm feeling like I can be greedy and go for economic stuff, I'll go for Gates of Horn and Ivory. If I am struggling for survival, I'll go for Creeping Doom. After getting Gates of Horn and Ivory, basically want to just stock up a lot of glamour gems and go for Fata Morgana. The reason that you want this, and this is a really, really good spell for any Blood Nations, is because of this unrest reduction that you get everywhere. And when you're blood hunting, this, I think, from memory, unrest reduction that happens through magic and events happens before income, um, and that means that you do not need to patrol and kill your population for blood hunting. So when you blood hunt, you raise unrest, and you have to, patrol to reduce unrest, but patrolling kills population, so which reduces your income, and so does unrest. So this kind of, is extremely valuable for getting a really, building a really huge blood economy where you're, really blood hunting every single province. So once we kind of get to this point, we're more or less in the late game. We can just kind of grab stuff situationally, and we should have a large blood economy by then. Probably once we have a large blood economy, I can either go for lifelong protections on harpies, which I think is kind of mediocre. I'm not a huge fan of that. What I'm probably going to be looking to do is spam succubus. Spam lots and lots of succubus and use them to cast either ephemeral blast as evocation mages or spamming charm. So the idea is to have a large amount of succubus and basically, casting Twilight, so they go from Glamour 2 to Glamour 3, and then using them en masse to cast stuff like Charm, Mass Confusion as well. This can be quite powerful, and if your opponent has strong infantry, unlike Pan. Well, Pan, yeah, so. And cast Mass Confusion to basically turn, their strength against them, essentially. And this will cause their units to basically kill each other. Obviously, it needs more than just that. There is other things that they can do, but Charm, Mass Confusion, and Ephemeral Blast are basically the staple spells. So anyway, that's my strategy. I'll end the video here, and I'll see you in the next turn.